Why referees use yellow cards, red cards. A referee slips a hand into a pocket, and before anyone hears an explanation, the entire stadium already knows what just happened. Yellow means the player has been warned. Red means the player is finished for the day. Two small rectangles, light enough to bend between the fingers, can hush a crowd, spark an argument, tilt a championship, or stay attached to a player's name for years afterward. But these cards did not begin as theatre. They came from confusion, from noise, from shouting, from players who could not understand the referee clearly, from matches where one decision could be made, challenged, misunderstood, and nearly swallowed by the chaos around it. Long before yellow and red cards became part of football, referees already had the authority to discipline players. They could issue cautions. They could send players off the field. The laws of the game allowed punishment, but the punishment itself was not always easy to see. Most of it happened through voice, gesture, a whistle, a notebook, and whatever authority the referee could project in the moment. A player might be warned with a few sharp words. A name might be written down in pencil. A dismissal might be communicated by pointing toward the touchline, repeating an order, or trying to make one message clear while 20 people talked over it. That kind of system worked better in a smaller football world. It made more sense when matches were local, when players and referees usually shared the same language, and when crowds were close but not overwhelming. Then football began to grow. Stadiums grew louder. International matches brought players from different countries onto the same grass, and referees had to control anger, pride, and pressure across language barriers. A decision that felt obvious to the official could look strange from the stands and feel unclear to the player involved. The whistle could stop the match, but the whistle alone could not always tell everyone why the match had stopped. In those early days, a referee was not yet the familiar figure lifting coloured cards into the air. He was closer to a strict schoolmaster trying to keep order in a crowded yard. His tools were plain and physical. A whistle at his lips, a pencil tucked away, a dark jacket, a notebook, and the confidence to stand his ground while players gathered around him. Warnings could disappear inside the noise. A player might walk away unsure whether he had been officially cautioned or merely scolded. Spectators might see tempers flare without knowing what had caused the reaction. Even newspapers could be left piecing together the disciplinary story after the final whistle. As football moved across borders, the weakness became more exposed. The sport wanted to be understood everywhere. A goal was simple. The ball crossed the line. A foul, even when disputed, could often be seen in the body language of the players. But discipline lived in a cloudier space. Was the referee only calming someone down? Had the player been formally cautioned? Was he being ordered off? In the middle of a roaring stadium with teammates pleading, opponents pointing, and the crowd reacting to every gesture, a spoken punishment could fade almost instantly into the air. The moment that pushed this problem into sharper focus is often connected to a tense international match in the 1960s, when a sending-off became surrounded by confusion and argument. The referee had made a disciplinary decision, but the message on the field was messy. Emotions were high. Communication was difficult. People disagreed not only about the decision, but about what had actually been communicated. That incident revealed something football could no longer ignore. The game had become international faster than its signals had. A sport played in dozens of languages needed a disciplinary language that did not depend on any language at all. Ken Aston, an English referee and official closely associated with the development of the card system, helped bring that solution into the modern game. The idea was almost startling in its simplicity. Use colour. Not a long speech. Not a complicated hand signal. Not words shouted through noise and stress. Just colour. The same basic colour logic people already understood from traffic lights. Yellow meant caution. Slow down. Be careful. Danger is close. Red meant stop. No discussion needed to understand the basic message. No shared vocabulary required. The colour did the speaking. It was the kind of idea that feels completely natural once it exists, but only because someone finally gave shape to a problem everyone had been living with. The cards first appeared on football's biggest stage around the early 1970s, when the World Cup helped introduce them to a truly global audience. Almost immediately, discipline became something people could see instead of merely guess at. A referee could still talk to players. He could still write names, manage personalities, calm tempers, and judge the mood of the match. But now the decision had a public form. The yellow card lifted above the crowd like a small warning flare. The red card cut through the noise with the finality of a locked gate. The design worked because it answered several problems at the same time. Players could recognize it instantly, even from a few yards away, even while breathing hard and arguing. Spectators could understand the decision from high in the stands. Broadcasters could explain the moment clearly to people watching at home. Officials could record discipline with less confusion. And football gained a visual language that felt dramatic without needing to be theatrical. One small card could tell a stadium what a paragraph of explanation might fail to deliver. Over time, yellow and red cards became part of the physical texture of football. They lived in the referee's pockets, often kept apart so one would not be pulled out by mistake. They had to be bright enough to stand against green grass, dark mud, white lines, striped jerseys, rain, sweat, and the blur of players moving at full speed. Some became plastic or waterproof, built for cold nights, heavy downpours, damp hands, and matches where the referee might spend 90 minutes sprinting, turning, stopping, and reaching into the same pocket again and again. The yellow card developed a strange emotional weight of its own. It is punishment, but not exile. It is a mark that stays with the player. He can continue, but the match has changed around him. Every tackle feels riskier. Every complaint carries a sharper edge. Every mistimed challenge becomes more dangerous than it was 5 minutes earlier. A defender shown yellow early in the match may spend the rest of the game balancing on a thin line, still expected to defend, still expected to be aggressive, but now forced to do it without stepping too far. The red card carries a different kind of force. It does not just punish one player, it reshapes the whole match. One body leaves the field, and suddenly the grass seems wider for everyone else. Space opens in places that were crowded before. Passing lanes appear. Tactics bend under pressure. A coach may pull off an attacker, drop a midfielder deeper, or ask tired players to defend with 10 instead of 11. The card itself is small, almost weightless, but the effect can feel enormous. A match that once had rhythm can turn into a long act of survival. Modern football has built a whole disciplinary structure around these two colours. A yellow card warns, records, and follows the player through the match. A second yellow usually turns into a dismissal. A straight red means the offence is serious enough that the player must leave immediately. After the final whistle, the consequences may continue through reports, suspensions, fines, reviews, and competition rules. The card raised on the field is the visible moment, the part everyone sees, but behind it sits a much larger system that keeps the decision alive after the crowd has gone home. The cards also change the way people experience football as spectators. Before them, discipline could feel like something happening inside the referee's private world, close to the players but unclear to everyone else. Now the crowd reads the temperature of a match through flashes of yellow and red. A yellow card in the first 10 minutes creates tension that lingers. A captain standing too close to the referee carries a sense of danger. A defender already booked and facing a fast winger becomes a story within the story. A quiet countdown every time the ball comes near him. And still, the card itself does not make the decision. That is one of the details people rarely think about. The referee decides first. The card only reveals the decision. The rectangle is not the authority, it is the public signal of authority. Without judgment behind it, it is just coloured material. With judgment behind it, it becomes one of the most recognisable and powerful objects in sport, able to turn private discipline into a message that every player, coach, fan and viewer can understand at the same instant. There is another odd detail hiding inside football's memory. The red card, now treated as the ultimate symbol of punishment, was not immediately everywhere in the way people picture it today. The system existed before the image became legendary. Over time, television, slow-motion replays, newspaper photos, and unforgettable tournament moments helped turn the raised red card into one of the sport's sharpest images. A referee's arm goes up, a bright piece of colour appears, a player turns away. The entire match seems to pause for half a second. Today, yellow and red cards feel so natural that football without them would seem strangely unfinished. They are simple enough for children on a playground and serious enough for the biggest matches in the world. They carry no sentence, no translation, no explanation shouted over the crowd, and still everyone understands. What began as a practical answer to confusion became part of football's emotional structure. Warning, danger, Consequence: all folded into 2 bright cards waiting inside a referee's pocket.